Yes, Lenny the Lion. Hi. Yeah, they did rip me off in the latest episode of Doctor Who. Yeah, goodbye. It was just Lenny the Lion on the phone, angry about Fiery. It's time for another episode of Doctor Who, Time and Space.
Welcome
to Doctor Who, Time and Space, episode 131. So, I'm Lewis Moon.
And me? I'm D Cool. I'm sat down now. Phew.
Yes.
I was racing around then, but here I am. I'm here. You'll be glad to know. So, Doctor Who, Time and Space. What do we have on this week's edition?
Well, we here will be reviewing The Woman Who Lived with Fiery and
Fiery. Because well, you remember his name. You just call him Fiery anyway. I don't remember the names, but you know that by now.
we've got some cards. We know that.
We've also on this week's show we'll be doing a bit of a preview on the Zygon Invasion, the Halloween spectacular.
Oh, happy Halloween, everyone!
That we have coming up a bit later on tonight.
So we're here on Halloween. Hope you're enjoying it. We are enjoying it because the podcast and everything. We always enjoy Saturdays, but you know, we're not really like obsessed with Halloween like lots of people are.
No. So what else do we have on the show aside from these two bits?
We will have some news and views.
And finally, we will be having our usual little chat about something that's been inspired by the episode that we're reviewing. So this time it's going to be top recurring cast. Yes. So should we kick off then with the woman who lived?
Yes. So
have I got the name right again for the second time running?
Well, you've got the name right.
I never
because
get the
it's
name
in
right.
the title of the podcast.
I didn't even notice that.
You did. I know you did.
All week, basically since the names of the episodes have been released, I've been really struggling with them, haven't I? I can never remember them. I still, if you think that within a day of them releasing them, you could actually recall all the names of the whole series and read them off in order. Whereas I've still been struggling with them all. And I've been calling this one the girl who died, the girl who lived, the woman who died, the woman who lived, the woman who woman.
It is the woman who lived.
Yeah.
No. Well, I called the first part the girly woman.
The girly woman.
It's just a joke, though.
But she did. At the end, she did. The girl did woman.
Yes.
Didn't she, basically?
So, we start off with the story roundup from me today.
Okay, your turn.
So, here we are in the Highwayman times, and it's on a travel horse thing. And
Horse and carriage.
Horse and carriage, yeah. I forgot his name. And I'm just going to call the horse Susan.
Horse Susan? Any reason for that?
Because of Town Called Mercy.
Oh.
And that was inspired by Susan Foreman.
Oh, see, that's where I thought you were coming from, because there was all this talk about who was Macy's character before the series, and the question, people were sort of predicting, and we even talked about as much on the show, was Maisie Williams' character actually Susan? And I thought you were coming up with a new prediction that Macy's character wasn't Susan, but the horse from the Horse and Carriage was.
So, we've got the Nightmare stalking Mr. and Mrs. Fanshawe. So we've got them being stalked, but then the Doctor comes along and gets inside the carriage, and the Nightmare reveals themselves. Oh wait, spoiler alert now. Let's go for spoiler alert.
Yeah, for those spoiler alert for those that haven't seen the episode yet.
So go and watch it now. they are. The Doctor finds out that the Ashildr is the nightmare. The nightmare is Ashildr, I mean. And it's that great line where he says, "It's you. What took you so long, old man?"
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we cut to titles. What happened after the titles? I can't remember.
No, I can't remember either. I mean, basically, I think.
Oh, I think it's just
pretty much straight in with the chat between the two, isn't it?
There's
really?
quite a lot of talk between the Doctor and Ashildr into this about why didn't the Doctor take her with him, and it just showed loads of scenes where Ashildr or me or whatever was suffering through time and losing her children and fighting in wars and stuff. So, and getting the plague and everything and trying to survive through 800 years of horrifying and gruesome events.
Yeah.
And the Doctor looked through her diary to try and find that out about that. But later on, they go inside Mr. and Mrs. Fanshaw's house to try and look for the artifact thing.
Yeah.
But then Maisie Williams is talking to someone. So about her plan.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm calling her Maisie Williams.
Yeah.
Yada
yada yada. Blah blah blah.
Then we get Sam Swift approaching the Doctor in the Nightmare. But later on, when we meet Lenny the Lion, ring.
What's his real name?
Leandro.
Leandro.
Wait.
Yeah.
Hello? No, Lenny. I'm not copywriting you. No, Len. I'm not calling you Len Goodman. Please. Okay, stop bothering me. It's podcast time. Don't phone me back at 5 o'clock or no, 5:15 when the podcast is finished. You phone me back and we end this argument. Goodbye.
Dear me. You'd think he'd know by now.
I was in the middle of a story synopsis. So Lenny, the lion, or Fiery as I like to call him, he and Ashildr have plans, and they captured the Doctor and everything. But later on, we got this party thing where someone gets the immortality chip, but that's it.
Okay.
Let's just give that.
Yeah.
So, who wants to start with what they thought of the story?
Shall I start since you've just done that bit? It's interesting, isn't it? Because the series so far has generally been two-parters. This is a two-parter of sorts. Because it's sort of a second part of the girl who died. Basically, because it follows on Ashildr's story.
Girly woman.
Because she has woman now. She's a woman. She may still look like a girl. She's still very young, but she's been, she's immortal. So she's lived through all these things. It was very interesting, wasn't it? Because it was probably the hardest hitting Who story that, well, possibly even that they've ever done.
Really.
In terms of actually digging into that whole thing around immortality.
It is quite interesting, and there's a lot of depth to the story. I mean, Captain Jack we saw, but we never really saw so much emotion into the immortality.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting subject because, as you said on Behind the Sofa, nobody wants to die. You're sort of scared of dying. It's the main human fear. But wouldn't really want to live forever because you'd see everyone you loved die.
Yeah.
Before your eyes.
Yeah. No, that's quite true. And I can't think of a darker subject that they've ever really debated on Doctor Who in terms of the actual sort of discussion. They've touched on things like death and stuff before, haven't they? End of last series, for instance. But
major.
But I think in terms of the real very slow-paced, really, sort of dialogue between the Doctor and Asridir / me, but it really, really worked.
It did.
Really, really worked. And I think one of the reasons it worked so well is because it was such a dark episode. They still had little bits of humour in there, which was predominantly brought across by Sam Swift, which is Rufus Hound's character. And even the Doctor at times was quite humorous, wasn't he? Certainly when he had the sort of joking banter going on between the two of them.
Banter.
The
Doctor doesn't like banter.
No, the Doctor doesn't like banter, but he was very good at it. And I just think the balance was completely spot on it. I think you could argue that the villain in it, Lenny the Lion.
Don't phone Lenny.
Yeah, you could argue that he was underused, as we could argue probably on every villain in this series other than the Daleks and Davros. But does that really matter? And we saw we were watching the fan show earlier on, weren't we? And they made the point on there that perhaps that character was there largely to keep the kids interested, who would find the story perhaps a bit hard going. And I think it's spot on. I think it has to have something, doesn't it? It has to have something, or else you lose the children. And it goes
not
back
me
to,
though.
No, indeed.
But not all those geeky children.
But I think the thing is that because you've got such an immense interest in Who, you love all the whole history of it and everything like that. So therefore, when it references old stuff, it means something to you.
Yes.
We forgot to mention actually when we were talking on Behind the Sofa earlier on, but there was the great moment that I touched on in last week's episode when I made some comment about, it was when you were reading out the hints and teasers, and it made some comment about how the Fire of London started, and I said, I hope they're not going to ruin it, because that was the Pterodactyls, sorry. And we had a little joke about that, didn't we? And it was great because they actually referenced them in this episode.
Like Asridir said something like, the Doctor said about the Great Fire of London, and Asridir said, maybe I could start that, and the Doctor said the Pterodactyls did.
That was brilliant. It was a really great, subtle reference, and I love that. So I've mentioned a few bits I like. I'll pass, but rather than sort of talk about, because we like quite similar bits, I don't want to take your.
I haven't given my actual opinion on the story yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So this episode I found was very good because the last part we had an enjoyable romp, sort of like Robot Shower, but done much, much better. But this part we had a very talky episode, sort of like The Witch is Familiar, but not Dr. Davros. It was the Doctor and Asridir, touching on some quite dark subjects and making you think a little bit, as well as enjoying it so much. So it was quite a different sort of way of enjoying it than the previous one was. And I think it's much better than the Girl Who Died and Before the Flood. So I think it had some great moments in it. Maisie Williams was superb. Even more, in Girl Who Died, that was sort of a build-up, and she's much, much better in this story than she was in that Girl Who Died, because you can see her as a superb actress. And Rufus Hound as well was brilliant as Sam Swift. So we got some great guest cast.
Particularly as, from what I gather, I've read some else, he hasn't really acted in stuff before.
No.
He's normally sort of like he's a comedian, isn't he? He was great, wasn't he? He really brought that character to life.
Yeah.
Actually, funny enough, when we were watching it, the first time when he came into it as the Highwayman, before when he was sort of arrested and everything, I wasn't sure about him as a character. I thought, I'm not really sure. He just seems like he's there for comedy effect and without any great real purpose. But then when it got to the bits where he was being brought up to be Han, he was fantastic in that, and all the way through that final part of it, I think he was brilliant, really, really good.
Yeah, so we've got some superb guest cast in this episode.
We do.
But
no Clara, or very little Clara.
Well, very little Clara in this episode because, well, we don't really need Clara as well as Maisie Williams, because if we do it, it'd overflow a little bit with... And also, the mystery of Clara is very similar to that mystery of Maisie Williams, kind of. But Clara isn't immortal, it's just done in a different way.
I think the interesting thing, one of the interesting themes that they approached in this story was the fact that there's no doubting that the Doctor would not have given that immortality chip, or whatever we call it, to... if he'd had a choice, or he felt like he had a choice. It was only because he felt that she'd been cheated of life and felt a bit responsible for that he gave it to her. And that was his whole reason for not taking her away with him as a companion, was that he felt that sometimes when you are immortal, you need to be with those people that aren't, that are making the most of life all the way through, in order to feel fully human, for want of a better way of putting it. And it's quite true, isn't it? Really, it's quite an interesting concept. That.
Well, yeah, because it's quite real, really. Because if you think about it, you'd probably be reacting like Ashildr / the Nightmare / me was, and you'd sort of turn a bit crazy, and you sort of turn a bit mad and annoyed and bitter because of so much that has gone on and so many people that you've lost. And it's just such a sad and difficult subject that they approached.
Yeah, no, they did.
In a very realistic way of approaching it.
Yeah. I mean, it's because you're constantly seeing those people that you love eventually die, to the extent, I guess, that after a while you would become quite bitter about it, wouldn't you? Because you constantly you would get to that stage where you didn't want to make friends with people anymore, because you didn't want to go through all that emotional trauma. So it's an odd one, very similar to the concept of vampires. We were talking about that last week a bit, weren't we, as well? Interesting one.
When were we talking about vampires?
I think I think we were talking about. I was mentioning the hunger. I think, wasn't I? I think I mentioned the hunger.
Huh?
Unless maybe I was.
Was that a dream?
maybe it was a dream. I don't know. Yeah, well, I won't mention it again anyway, because I either mentioned it on this show last week or I mentioned it in my dream. If you were listening to my dream, you've already heard it. So, what do you... sorry, well, the point I was going to come on to with that was, it makes you realise that the Doctor doesn't want to see his companions die. He wants them to live a full life, basically, doesn't he? And maybe that's why, sooner or later, he always lets them go.
Yeah.
It might be difficult for him, but what the last thing he wants is to see them either die or grow old and die. He doesn't want that. He wants them to live a full life, but he doesn't want them to suffer the pains of immortality.
Or he doesn't want them to... He'd be hurt if he... when he sees someone, old, and then he tries to hide that from another person, because if you see yourself when you're old, if you touch yourself, or if it might never have meant to happen.
Yeah.
So it's like the Father's Day thing might never have meant to happen, but it happens, so you die.
Yes. Yeah. No, indeed. Yeah. But and yet the odd thing about the whole thing is, although we've talked about how difficult this is, there's no doubting that probably if you put that immortality chip in front of the majority of people and said, if you take this, you can live forever, most people would take it.
Would you?
Yes.
I would, yeah.
Most people would, because...
Well, I would have before this, but...
Yeah, sure, would you? Yeah, it'd be all right if we had two, wouldn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
But you might, if you had two, would you give it to me?
Yeah.
But
that way we'd you know, in years to come, when it came to the 5,000th anniversary of Who, we'd be sat here still doing our podcast, talking normally like this.
Hi
there, and thanks for tuning in for these 500,000 years.
Yes, because we've really enjoyed having these 5,000,002 episodes of Doctor Who Time and Space, and Lenny the Lion's still phoning us up, but Ashel Deer's on the phone now. Sounds very crotchety now.
Yeah, very bitter. So, were there other particular favourite bits in this episode for you, other than the ones we've already sort of touched on?
Not really. I like the ending, which we didn't mention, when you see that selfie where in the background Maisie Williams is glaring there. And what I liked is there's lots of hints as well in this story towards Clara's exit. Yeah. And that may be what the story arc is. Even though Clara wasn't in it much, there were lots of things indicating on her future.
Thinking about future, what do you think is the future of Ashel Deer and even Swift, actually? Do you think they're likely to be recurring characters that we see again?
I think Ashel Deer, but maybe not Swift, because we still don't know if he was really immortal.
No, I guess the Doctor seemed to indicate that after the damage sustained through that, his life being used to open that portal up, that maybe that would have caused damage. That sounded like a little bit of a cop-out to me. That sounded like a little bit like we don't really want him having exactly the same powers as Ashel Deer, so we'll give him some form of limitation. But it's a very minor point.
Yes.
Overall, I don't think there was much in terms of weakness in the story at all.
No, it was 4th in my rankings.
Yeah.
What other questions do we have to ask?
Well, I was just thinking about the rankings thing. I think I prefer it than The Magician's Apprentice. I don't prefer it than the overall story of The Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar, but I prefer it than The Magician's Apprentice. I preferred it than the second part of the Flood one.
Me too.
And that's the ones we can compare it with, isn't it? We've had the 2 full stories, haven't we, so far? It was better than the first part, The Girl Who Died.
Yes.
What it does show you is what a strong series this has been so far.
Both of the Capaldi seasons have been amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's because they're the 2 recent ones. I think it's just because they are. It's the fact.
I think they are. But there again, you look at it, and we've been watching a few reviews, haven't we? And there's been some really positive comments from people, but there's also been some people that have been very negative on them. So
it's like Season 8. We here are being quite positive, even though over the last week's Girl Who Died review and the week before the Flood review, I gave it quite negative reviews. But with this one and the other 3 that I haven't mentioned, we gave them quite positive.
Yeah. I think it's It's interesting, actually, isn't it? Because we were listening a bit earlier on this afternoon. We were listening back to some of the podcasts from last year, or one of the podcasts where we were talking about
In the Forest
of the Night. And we were both, whilst we were being fairly critical of it, we also rated it quite highly in the end.
We rated it like 8.5.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe to a certain extent, it's because when things are fairly new and fresh, and you've just watched them, it's the most recent one, you always look at it a little bit in a positive light, and over time you re-review it. So if you were to re-review now In the Forest of the Night and give it a rating, where would you give it, probably out of 10?
Probably like a 7.5.
Yeah, and so I'd probably do the same. Still a lot more watchable than most of the David Tennant Donna episodes, but it just over time.
Greatest Show in the Galaxy gets about 3.
Yeah, definitely over time you get to look at things perhaps more realistically and get a clear idea of whether it was as strong as you remember it being. And that's always the danger when you review things. It'd be interesting to see how much of this series in years to come we think is as good as we do now. I still think it will stand the test of time.
Yeah.
But we shall see.
So what do you rate it out of 10 then?
I would give it a 9.
Okay, I'm going to give it an 8.9. Because usually I'm higher than you by about 0.5 to 1.0-ish sort of rank.
Yeah.
When it was on, this is interesting. When it was on, you gave it an 8.8.
Did I? Okay, so I've actually looked more fondly on it as the week's gone on.
Yeah, I gave it an 8.9 when it was first on, so I still give it an 8.9. Yeah. But it was a great episode that I really enjoyed, and so should I give a roundup on my thoughts, and then you give a roundup, and then we'll move on to Zygon.
Okay, yeah.
So, I thought this episode was a spectacular episode with Maisie Williams and Peter Capaldi working amazingly together. The immortality was a very dark subject, but they dealt with it very well. Peter Capaldi was again excellent, and the ending scene with Clara and the Doctor showed some more excellent scenes between the two. But the main personality was the Doctor and Ashildr / the Nightmare / me. Underused villain with Lenny the Lion, but was just there to entertain the kids. With a very talky episode, which may have made them lose interest. And Sam Swift, played by Rufus Hound, was also superb. So a great story. And as I said, I give it an 8.9.
Okay.
You're around
what he said. No, just a very small brief thing to add to that. Adds to the growing evidence that Peter Capaldi is one of the strongest Doctors that we've had. His dialogue is excellent. His interplay with important characters, whether it's Ashildr, Clara, Davros, is just so strong when it comes to these sort of dialogue moments. A few things that have been common themes with the series that are noticeable but aren't necessarily a bad thing, in that the baddies tend to pose a significant threat, but in the end tend to be defeated fairly badly. They'll fail fairly easily, but I don't think that's important, because they tend to be there for the purpose of the wider story rather than being an essential villain in their own right. Something which I think will probably change in tonight's episode. Yeah. So all in all, I really enjoyed both parts of it. Both very different. First part very funny. Second part very deep. And both parts very watchable.
Yes. So thanks for watching our review. But now it's time for us to move on to tonight's episode, and I'm trying to find a synopsis of the Zygon invasion. So tonight, the Zygons, a race of shape-shifting aliens, have been living in secret among us on Earth, unknown and unseen, until now. When Osgood is kidnapped by a rogue gang of Zygons, the Doctor, Clara and Unit must scatter across the world in a bid to set her free. But will they reach her in time, and can they stop an uprising before it's too late?
Okay, so Return of the Zygons, one of my particular favourite Classic Who villains. Although ironically, and I think we might have touched on this before in a previous podcast, you could say that they're more New Who than Classic Who in many ways, because they would have been in it more in the newer ones, because they obviously played a role in Day of the Doctor.
Even though this time they get their full story.
Yeah.
Their first full story since their first one.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I do think as well, from the clips, obviously it's Halloween today, so we're looking for scares, and the episode has a sort of Halloween feel to it, doesn't it, in terms of the suspense that's been provided. And it makes you wonder, did they always deliberately plan for this one to be released at Halloween? Do you think they've coincided it with Halloween? Yeah.
If Halloween wasn't on Saturday, I don't know whether it might have begun a week earlier, a couple of weeks earlier than September 19th, or a couple of weeks later, or whatever.
Can I ask you something? It sort of links back a little bit to the discussion around the woman who lived.
Yes.
Do you think that would have been more powerful if they hadn't have done those stories back to back and had, say, the girl who died, then the Zygon invasion and inversion, and then had the woman who lived? So you had a little bit of a break from Macy's character and then revisited. Do you think that would have worked more effectively, or do you think it was better off doing it back to back?
I think it's better off doing it back to back. I mean, what do you think? Because
I don't think it really mattered, to be fair, but I just thought it made it...
It just made it so... Actually, it just made it so people who weren't interested in the episode, if they weren't interested in being, It
just had a little bit of a... what are the chances of that happening? What are the chances of that happening?
Do you want to talk a bit about tonight's episode and the return of Zygons and Osgood?
Yeah, I'm just going to give a bit of my theory on what are the chances of that happening, which was the fact that the Doctor has been back in time so many times during history, seen so much of Earth's history. How come he next bumps into Maisie Williams, next adventure on from the one when he first met her? But maybe that's me being silly. But anyway, I mean, not that it really matters in the great scheme of things. It's just a fictional program which we love. Zygons. So we've got them returning back for this series. Looks like it's probably going to follow on in many respects from Day of the Doctor, where at the end of that episode we found that the Zygons and the humans, or particularly Unit, had called a truce, and Zygons were effectively living amongst us. And it looks like that's may have been going all right for a while, but now things are getting a little bit tense between the two. Have you got some tips and hints and teasers?
Yes.
Yeah, you're going to launch into them now?
Yes.
Okay.
So the opening line is "Once upon a time," which sort of indicates that it's going to be set, or it's going to tell you a bit about what happened just before in Day of the Doctor. Do you think there'll be a previously to Day of the Doctor?
Yeah,
like
could be.
Not like a proper previously, I mean like a scene.
It definitely left it, if you go back to Day of the Doctor, it left it very open, didn't it?
Yeah.
Insofar as we never really, there was the talk about the truce, but then it just pinged off to the next bit, didn't it? Which
Yeah.
I can't remember what the next bit was. I can't remember that. Was that the bit with Tom Baker by that stage?
I think it was going into that.
Can't really remember, but anyway, it's sort of in many ways it's sort of like parked that story, didn't it? And obviously now we're coming back to the parked car and starting the vehicle up again.
Yeah.
So any more bits to run through on there?
No. Wait. Yeah, there is, but we've gone out of it by accident. So remember the next. Let's try and remember this next one. But it's pretending to be a couple of 7-year-olds is a splendid way to conceal blobbiness.
So presumably then there's a picture, isn't there, of children running around a playground or something like that. So some of them must be Zygons. Amazing
Grace. Pray this box is never needed. Hello, Billy, and him, and him. Oh, God, who were those all people? Kate once again struggles with the unit dating issue. I thought you didn't like being president of the world. Beware door 52.
What's door 52, do you think?
Don't know.
Okay.
We need to bomb the hell out of this place. The doctor's name is revealed twice, and your something is almost something.
Ooh,
so what does
something?
What do you think it means by the doctor's name is revealed twice?
Well, they're very cryptic, these clues, aren't they? Could well just mean they mention who twice or something like that.
The Doctor.
Yeah, I'm not going to read too much into it. I am intrigued by that door 52 though. Did we ever find out? I think we did, and I think it's just me forgetting. In the episode, what's it called? In series 6 or 7, the Matt Smith series with David Walliams in.
Season 6.
Yeah. What was that episode called again?
God Complex.
God Complex. The door that the Doctor was scared to go in. Did we ever find out what was behind that door? I think we did, didn't we?
The crack.
Ah, that's what it was. Right.
Stupid, but
yeah. Okay. Okay. I was just wondering whether this door 52 thing was a link back to that.
No,
probably not.
That was number 11.
Okay. Yeah.
Door 11. So Clara must have been really bored to know that.
And it's bored, B-O-A-R-D.
Yeah.
Rather than B-O-R-E-D.
Those were the old rules. 127 missed calls. Rescuing you in quite a dashing way, I might add. Scared of lifts? You will be. I don't answer that question. Who knew a dead teddy bear could cause such tension? We have a 30-minute window before the airstrike. You finally learn where the question marks went to, and it's brief but shocking. Do you know what? I'm enjoying this. It's mentioned again. Kill the traitors.
So it's mentioned again. My theory is that presumably we're going to be going again to the Carl's not got long in this world sort of hints. Which a lot of people
are we getting bored of that?
Oh, it doesn't bother me. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't necessarily have even noticed how much it was shoved in your face if it wasn't for the fact that a lot of reviewers have picked up on that.
Yeah.
So it's obviously something which is annoying people generally. It hasn't really bothered me that much.
No.
I mean, you have always got this whole thing of, well, why is he worrying about it now? He hasn't worried about it for the last couple of seasons. But, you know, it's a TV programme.
Yeah.
Isn't it? You could make that same comment about most of the story arcs, really.
Yeah, someone said, I can't remember who, but they said, would you notice it if Clara wasn't leaving? If you didn't know Clara was leaving?
True. That's a fair point, actually. You probably wouldn't do. How many episodes do you think Clara's got left? Do you think she's going to see the whole season out? Or do you think we're going to lose her?
Well, I know.
Mid-season? You know, do you?
Mm.
Okay. I don't know. I've got a theory, but I won't go into it. But yeah.
Don't go into it.
Okay.
Okay.
Does that take us on? Is there anything else we've got to say about Zygon? I mean, it's one of the episodes you've been most looking forward to, isn't it? From this series. I think the little clips and trailers that we've seen for it have been brilliant, haven't they? And they have been really tense, real Halloween stuff. Yeah. Because the Zygons, actually, even when you go back to the old classic series, even though obviously a lot of effects have dated significantly, they're still quite scary, aren't they, when you see them? And they've done a really good job on bringing them up to date, because they've not messed with the design like they did with the Silurians. They've kept them as is, haven't they? And same with the Cybermen.
Really did mess with them.
The Silurians they particularly messed with. The Cybermen they've messed about with a lot as well, really. I think that, you know, the Cybermen in Death in Heaven were a lot more menacing, but they still don't look as menacing as they did in the old days. No. I'd much rather they just... The two that they've done the best... Okay, well, here's a question for you. Which classic Who villains do you think they've done the most justice to in New Who?
Zygons and Ice Warriors.
Agreed. I would have said the same. I would have said the same thing.
We can read your mind.
Yeah, Sontarans I think still look cool.
But they don't. The blue armor and everything. They never had blue armor.
Yeah, and the fact that they're not really as threatening now, have they? That's the only problem with the Strax characters. It's made them less threatening.
So, should we move on to the news?
Let's move on to the news.
So, first up, we've got some ratings. So, Woman Who Lived, the overnights, were 4.34 million.
Okay, so
all right.
So not too bad. Up a little bit, obviously up from the beginning of the series, or the second and third ones, which clashed with England games, if I remember rightly. But down a little bit from the previous week,
which was 4.85. Do you think it will go over 5 million for any of the weeks?
For the first time round, maybe the last one.
Yeah, one of those. I know Dark Water was quite popular.
I think actually, if it's leaked, and I think it has been leaked a bit already, but not that widely. If there's a greater promotion of the final episode with Clara in it, whether it's the final one or one before then, people might watch that. I think that might get a higher number, but a lot of it depends on what's on. I think we were talking about it earlier on, weren't we? You were saying, what do I think for tonight's episode? And I think ordinarily this one tonight would get a really high rating, but I think because it is on Halloween and so many people now have Halloween parties and things, I think it will have a far greater number of people watching afterwards. Like me, for instance, I'm not going to get to watch it till tomorrow morning probably.
The AI was the lowest so far with 81, which still isn't too bad. But the thing I was thinking of with these ratings is it only counts households or televisions or whatever. There was us watching it and live, and it was, so it's more than one of us.
Yeah, that's right. It depends what are they trying to gauge, really. What are they trying to get? Are they trying to gauge the number of viewers, or are they trying to gauge the number of tellies? I don't know. In the end, does it really matter? I mean, as long as it's popular, as long as people want to watch it, I'm not really sure what it really matters. I mean, do you make any more money on it? I mean, they're making the money from it, from selling it abroad, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, they are.
If people are enjoying it, the merchandise is obviously still selling pretty well, isn't it?
Yes.
The amount of merchandise you see, it's no sign of reducing, does it?
So the final ratings for Girl Who Died have been released, 6.56 million, which is it's really good. And
that's actually higher than even the opening one, isn't it?
Yeah, and
that's unusual, isn't it?
And so we haven't got the L+7 things, which give you iPlayer and all catch-ups.
The interesting thing, though, isn't it? I mean, that's got the highest rating in terms of viewers, and that you would probably say that was the worst episode.
Yeah.
So
maybe there are a number of reasons.
Having said that, I think from a Who fan's perspective, there's a good argument to say that The Magician's Apprentice Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar, is a better story. From a Joe Public perspective, perhaps ones like The Girl Who Died are better.
Yeah.
Because they don't need to know anything about Who history. It's just a enjoyable romp. Jump. So yeah, maybe that's the thing. So any more news?
Yes, so we've got a Sleep No More synopsis, but it's very short.
Hopefully it's going to have loads of things in it to tell us, because we don't know much about this episode yet, do we?
So it's very long. This terrifying story is assembled from footage discovered in the wreckage of Louveria Space Station.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
So, I don't know, it's intriguing, isn't it, this one? They've managed to keep this pretty much under wraps. I'm assuming it must have been... And by the fact that it's filmed at a space station, I guess, you get the impression it's probably was predominantly filmed indoors. So therefore, people haven't really seen too many, you haven't managed to get people sort of catching shots of things and stuff like that.
I think it's going to be a Dr. Light episode.
Yeah. Do you think?
And Companion Light.
Do you think Blink-esque light? Or do you think...
Like, do you mean? Or light?
Light. So if you think about Blink, the Doctor wasn't really in that one too much. Do you think he's going to be that sort of like Dr. Light?
I think it might be, yeah.
Well,
not as little. I think he'll have a tiny bit more of a role, but there's rumours that the Weeping Angels may appear in this.
That's interesting. Do you know what I think? Rumours. And so far, my predictions have been rubbish, haven't they? We were joking earlier on, weren't we, about how bad some of our predictions have been over the years. But perhaps this is a two-parter with the Raven story. And actually, this will put the context on another character being embroiled in whatever that threat provides. And then the next story will then concentrate in a bit more detail about Clara and the Doctor coming to terms with it. Probably rubbish, but it's a theory.
Yes,
and that's what we're here for. Theories and opinions.
So
even if they're wrong theories and wrong opinions.
So bad news for you. Tennant and Tate return for audio adventures.
Only bad news insofar as the fact that we know it's there. So I don't have to listen to it, and I won't.
So David Tennant is returning as the 10th Doctor, alongside Catherine Tate as his companion, Donna Noble, in 3 Doctor Who audio dramas. David Tennant portrayed the Doctor on screen from 2005 until 1st of January 2010, returning to play alongside Matt Smith and John Hurt in the 50th anniversary special in The Day of the Doctor in 2013. Catherine Tate made her debut as Donna in December 2006, and after a series and 2 festive specials, she made her last appearance alongside David on January the 1st, 2010. Their on-screen partnership is generally regarded as one of the great high points of this enduring science fiction phenomenon.
Unless you listen to D. Cool.
Doctor Who, The 10th Doctor Adventures will be released in May 2016 and comprises 3 thrilling audiocast adventures. So you can buy them separately today for just £10.99 on CD or £8.99 to download. All 3 stories are available in the Doctor Who 10th Doctor Adventures Volume 1 limited edition set. Limited to just 5,000 copies and available exclusively from BigFinish.com. And the lavish Booksides box set includes exclusive artwork, photography, articles, and an hour-long documentary featuring interviews with the stars and production team. You can pre-order the set today at the special price of £30 on CD or £25 to download, offering a £5 discount against the standard price.
I don't get it. I don't get why everybody loves the 10th Doctor and Donna. I just can't grasp it. I find the 2 of them together just really, really irritating. I know I have to moan about David Tennant as the Doctor, But most of that vitriol is aimed at the season with Donna involved in it. I just can't get my head around it. I just find the two of them together just so cringeful or cringeworthy that I really struggle with them. I mean, to be fair, some of the episodes are good, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I don't know. They just get me on edge. Oh, no, I'm not going to say any more. But I don't understand why it is that everybody seems to love them so much together. You know, how Donna always comes out right at the top of the companions list. She's annoying. She's really, really annoying. Why?
So there's some reports saying Capaldi to stay for at least one more season. So the report says Peter Capaldi will fire up the TARDIS for at least one more season after agreeing to stay on as Doctor Who. The Doctor. BBC bosses had feared the 57-year-old Scott would not renew his contract and had drawn up a short list of possible replacements. Capaldi's privately admitted filming 13 episodes for 9 months a year tiring, but senior BBC insiders have confirmed he will return as the 12th Doctor, the 12th Time Lord next year. The Glasgow-born star, who replaced Matt Smith in 2013 on a 2-year contract, has agreed a new 1-year deal with a further year option. However, the new series might be made up of several feature-length episodes rather than 13 shows. And Capaldi, foul-mouthed spin doctor Malcolm Tucker in the thick of it, may call time on the Doctor, as he is keen to direct more episodes of the political satire Veep in America.
Sorry.
You go. Yeah.
I was about to say, I think we've got to remember with this article that the source is the Daily Mirror, which is like one of the most feeble sources in the world. It's like sort of saying, bloke down pub told me such and such. It's like that. It's the reporting is absolutely appalling. You know, who knows? It may turn out to be true, but chances are, bloke down pub told him.
So BBC spokeswoman declined to comment, saying, "We never discuss contracts."
We never discuss contracts. Did the bloke down pub tell you that? Probably. Any more news?
So Moffat talks River Song's Kick-Ass Christmas return.
Ooh.
So Stephen Moffat has teased River Song's return in this year's Christmas special. Speaking to the Observer, he said, "That's been a riot to do, and that's been sort of a big fun chase episode, really. Just Mr. and Mrs. Who battling their way past nonsense, and that's been great fun. They're lovely together, they are." He adds, "Alex is always great value. It's time we saw her back being a kick-ass hero instead of playing mums and sisters and all that. It's a waste of her." Additionally, Moffat seemed to indicate he was working on Series 10, although this was a little unclear, when speaking about what he was most proud of with the latest season. "I'm proud that we get to the end of the season and it all looks pretty and it is nice. I'm just embarking on the new one and it's terrifying. I have to make all that again."
Intriguing. A couple of points there. Firstly, can you just scroll down a bit just so I can see the quote? Sorry, the other way. Moffat says in here something about where we are. It's always good value. It's time we saw her being kick-ass hero instead of playing mums and sisters and all that. It's a waste of her, which is right. But then you think, you wrote them, Moffat. Not that I think it was a bad thing, because I think it worked well, that story.
It did.
But you wrote it.
Yeah. So why couldn't you be bothered to? If you didn't like that idea, why couldn't you be bothered to change it?
What do you reckon the Christmas one's going to be like? Do you think it's going to be a very light episode, light-hearted?
Quite, because Christmas It's just family sitting down at an early time
Yeah.
to watch Doctor Who and just to enjoy it, to embark on an adventure.
The Christmas ones are odd, aren't they? They either work or they don't work. So it'd be interesting to see which of the two it is. Yeah. Any more news?
No.
That's it. So that moves us on. Well, it's quite good timing, really, from where we are in the show, time-wise. Our little debate that we always have.
So, top recurring characters. So we've got Osgood returning tonight to our screens, as well as Kate and Jack, and a couple of new characters that we've got.
Yeah.
Including Rebecca Front. But so we're focusing on Osgood and Kate.
Yeah.
So
good to see Osgood back. Good to see Kate back. I like Kate.
Yeah, and also Jack we hardly ever saw in Magician's Apprentice, so it'd be good to see her, hopefully.
Would you have said that? Would you class on a unit theme the Brigadier as a recurring character? I mean, I know he did in latter days he was a recurring character, wasn't he? Because periodically he would return. But actually, when you look at the John Pertwee days in particular, he was pretty much always there, wasn't he? Is that right?
Yeah.
In the sort of period when he was stranded on Earth, you could argue the Brigadier was actually a companion, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pose one recurring cast, River Song. Now, we're just talking about her returning and playing mums and sisters and everything. You may know, if you've listened to some older episodes of the podcast, guys, that I'm not the biggest fan of River Song.
Yeah.
But I loved her in Let's Kill Hitler. She was the thing that made Let's Kill Hitler good.
Yeah, I liked her in that, actually, as well.
And that's probably her best performance.
It probably goes back to the point that Moffat made as well about her being kick-ass again, and she was kick-ass in that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it's getting.
So,
maybe that's what Christmas brings.
I'm looking forward to seeing her playing her character alongside Peter Capaldi and seeing their relationship.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be very interesting.
Yeah.
But as you know, as I just said, I'm not the biggest fan of River Song. I get annoyed by her, but still she can be a very interesting character and very, very different to anything else that Stephen Moffat's done.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, if you go back to classic Who, you didn't get quite so many recurring characters as such, did you?
No, you just got like main characters. You got Professor Travers.
Yeah, Professor Travers. And the other one that springs to mind, I can't remember his name now, but was the criminal that was in the Cyberman. Lytton, yeah. And actually, I quite like that. I quite like the idea of that.
Yeah, I did.
But you've had it a little bit more with New Who, haven't you? You've had people like Bernard Cribben's character.
Wilfred Mott.
Yeah. He'd classify as a recurring character, I'd suggest, yeah.
You've got like Jackie as well, and Mickey.
Yes.
Well, Mickey, I don't know whether to class him as a companion or as a...
I'd say he's recurring. Really. Yeah, I'd say he's more... Rory, I think you classify as a companion.
Not recurring.
Certainly in the latter sort of stages, he became a companion, didn't he?
And
Winston Churchill.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, we've had him in it a couple of times. And Bracewell, we had him in it a couple of times. I think he returned.
Who's your favourite recurring character of all time?
I don't know. I like Professor Travers.
Yeah.
He's great.
I think...
But no, actually, Wilfred. I love Bernard.
Actually, I really like him. He actually makes me not mind the annoying Donna quite so much because you know there's some Cribbins action going on. So, I actually like that character.
I despise the Noble, but I love the Mott.
Yes, that's right. More Mott, less Noble, please. All in all, there's been a number... It's probably more of a New Who phenomenon than a classic Who phenomenon, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really sure I've got too much more to say about it, really.
So, what do you think about the idea of recurring character? Do you think it's better for a character to appear in it once, or is it better for characters to appear in it recurringly?
There's characters that I would like to see return. I think actually last series had a number of them. Actually, I would like to see the guys and gals that were involved in Time Heist. I'd be interested to see what else happened to them. The soldier in Into the Dalek, I thought was Journey Blue. I thought she was really strong. I'd like to see what happened to her. I'd like to see what happened to Sally Sparrow.
I don't want you to mention the Last Christmas
one. I was going to mention that actually earlier on, because I was going to bring it on to the who do you think will be the next companion question. And a lot of the money is on Shauna.
I agree that she shouldn't be the companion.
I really
I hate her.
I don't know why you don't.
Because she dances, then she's just annoying.
I think, I reckon, and I might be wrong, I reckon if you watch that episode again, probably the dancing bit will still annoy you. But I don't think you'll find her that annoying.
If they put the dancing moment nearer the end, then I'd enjoy her more. But because it's right near the beginning, you just tease at her character and everything. So when I watch Last Christmas at Christmas, I'll be watching it.
I think, you see,
to rejudge.
Going back to what we were saying earlier on, the Christmas episodes have always got that more cheesy element to them, and I think that's just the cheesy element, which I liked actually personally. I know you didn't, but I like that bit. But I think she'd be really good, because I think I want to see her as a recurring character. I know we disagree on this, but I want to see her come back, because I think they left her story. The fact that she was in a real dead end part of her life, she's the sort of person that would really benefit from the Doctor's company.
It's like Alice Oberfune in the Titan comics.
Okay, I'll take your word for that, because I'm no idea. But I think Shauna needs a purpose in life, and I think the Doctor can provide that.
I feel really sorry for Alice in the first story with her, but she sort of grows to love time travel and everything, like all of the companions. Well, most of the companions do.
Yeah.
If not all.
So I'm going to disagree with you on that. We don't disagree too often on here, but I want to see Shauna back. I would actually like to see her as a companion.
I wouldn't. Would you like her to be that character or another?
I'd like her to be that character.
Okay.
Because I think the Doctor can help her out of that rut.
Okay.
And she's a good actress again.
No.
I think you're being unfair, and
no, I'm not. I'm not being unfair.
You've only seen that story once, haven't you?
Yeah.
As have I. So I might change my mind. I might agree with you, next time. But I think she would be good, and I think she might be. When do you reckon we'll find? I know we've moved away a little bit from our main item of discussion, but when do you think we will find out who the next companion is?
Maybe in the gap between the Christmas one and season 9.
When did we find out?
Christmas one.
When did we find out about Jenna Coleman? Can you remember?
Just before the day before season 9. What, leaving?
No, so coming.
Oh, like a year before she was actually in it.
Yeah, it was a long time before, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was an odd one anyway, wasn't it? Because what they did really well was they threw you a little bit when she then appeared in the first episode of the second part of.
And then she was killed.
Yeah. No, it's the first episode, the first part of series 7, wasn't it?
And then she properly appeared.
Yeah, and that was like confusing, wasn't it? So. Do you think we will find out who the next companion is going to be during the Christmas episode?
Yeah, it would be interesting if they never actually told us. Yeah, what if they never actually tell us until the season is on? That'd be very good.
It would be good, but I don't think it will happen. No. I just don't think they can keep things secret. And also now, it's got such a promotional... it's such a promotional monster that they will want to take the new companion around with the Doctor all around the world doing one of these world tours and stuff like that. So I don't think it's practically going to be possible. But I think I'm not sure we will find out actually in the Christmas edition. I've got a feeling it might be that they don't want to take the focus away from the song, and we'll find out not long after Christmas. But
maybe in the new year.
Yeah, maybe in the new year. Although if it a lot of it depends on what the format is. If they're going to specials like a lot of the predictions
maybe
we might not have one.
Yeah, maybe they won't reveal it until next Christmas.
Could be, yeah. So a lot of it depends on what format.
By Stephen Moffat's indication that he's starting writing season 10, at the moment, I'm thinking, and as well on Sherlock, they're starting filming it now.
Yeah.
But it won't be released probably till 2017.
Yeah.
Because
true.
The special's coming, but still.
Yeah.
We've got class as well, but should we end the podcast there?
I think so. I think we've talked about everything we were going to talk about, haven't we?
So next week on episode 132 of the podcast, we review the Zygon Invasion, which is going to be on at 8:15 tonight.
We'll also give a bit of a few predictions and debate a little bit about what we're hoping to see from the Zygon inversion.
We've got some more news and views.
And we'll be talking stuff in a general topic that we haven't yet decided what it's going to be yet. If you've enjoyed this show, which I hope you have, check out as well the various videos that sit on this particular YouTube channel. And in particular, Behind the Sofa, we recorded live earlier on, where you get to see our beautiful faces talk about the Maisie Williams episodes.
So that's it for excuse me. Hello? I said 8:15. Sorry. Goodbye everyone. I'm just talking to Len. Bye. No, not you, Len. Bye.